This is the village of Sudtongan, tucked away in the southern section of booming Cebu City. It is a source of the cream-colored rock known as Mactan stones. Soon, these rocks will find their way to the facades of homes and buildings in cities not far from here. To obtain these stones, one vital but unseen ingredient is needed: child labor. The burden of cutting and transporting these rocks rests on children like Herbie Monares, whose family makes a living from the quarry. Like other working children, Herbie has stopped schooling. His mother says his school records were lost after the family migrated from Cebu to Quezon Province and back in search of greener pastures. Besides, his parents are too poor to send him to school. Herbie's story is no different from the stories of millions of other young boys and girls forced to work at a tender age. This is a dangerous job, and children are forbidden by law from taking it. Poverty, landlessness, and war force children to work. And the most oppressive forms of child labor are found in the hidden and forgotten recesses of Philippine society, where there are no schools, no health centers, and no government services. This is the main street of Diwalwal in Davao del Norte, a gold mining community of close to 60,000 people. This street is noisy and alive at all hours of the day and night. The gushing water contains muck from the mines and the ore mills. The street is dirty, and it also stinks of piss, human excrement, and assorted filth. Diwalwal is a slum, an ugly, filthy settlement on a mountaintop. It is not a place to raise children. But here, children live and work. They are involved in all phases of gold production, doing work which even for adults is dangerous. Alvin Makaslig is 16, a shy, scrawny teenager doing a man's job. Every day he joins a team of workers in one of the biggest mines. Alvin shouldn't even be here. Philippine laws ban children under 15 from working. Those from 15 to 18 can work, but only if they are with their parents and never in hazardous conditions.
Di pa man so magdasal nila. Kuan ba kay karon jud na kaluy-an taon.
This rickety cage takes workers into the mountain's deepest and darkest depths, where they will spend the next 16 hours or more. They make a long, slow descent into a shaft 100 meters deep. The shaft is carved from hard and unyielding rock and propped up by the timber that came from Diwalwal's once lush forest. A mine tunnel is like a tomb, a dark sepulchre where there is neither night nor day. Down here, it is easy to imagine death, entombment. Deep in the shaft, it is hot and difficult to breathe. The harsh nitrate fumes from the dynamite blasting choke the lungs, giving everyone the feeling that they are suffocating from dynamite smoke. The tunnels stretch for miles into the mountain's entrails. Miners spend long hours, even days, in these dark, smoky caves. Alvin's home is in the lowlands, and the money he earns feeds his family and sends several of his siblings to school. He begins work just before noon and labors through the night and into the following morning. While adult miners drill into the rock, Alvin shovels the gold ore into sacks. The work is heavy, but the pay is high, up to 10 times the minimum wage. On a good week, Alvin can earn up to 2,000 pesos. But the risks he and others take are great.
Kuyaw man ginoon, yes tunnel. Kuya kay uban, mahulugan kay bato. Nya. Basig unsa lay kuan dia sa tunnel, kuyaw gyud. Mahulugan pa ka nagkahoy. Lagi uban mahog sa hagdan. Tiyaw lay. Na bantayan sa nimo ini mubuto na siya kay kuyaw mo ginang mubuto. Pagawason mo diha, pag ingaw na naggawas, gawas gidayon.
Mining is one of the most hazardous industries. The Labor Department includes it in a list of dangerous occupations forbidden to minors. But in Diwalwal, children as young as 12 work inside the tunnels. Such work sometimes has fatal consequences. 17-year-old Junbert Sabate has worked here since he was 11 and has narrowly missed death in the dimly lit depths of the mine tunnel. Junbert is an abantero, a miner, doing one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs here in Diwalwal. Most of the actual mining work is done by hand, with little light, using heavy mallets and metal stakes that chip at the ore but can also injure miners.
Murag horror bitaw, kaya nagbitay-bitay ng mga bato. Pag magbungan ka to, maigo ka, mag-swerte, matay yung kayo. Mga sa 50-50 mong kinabuhi ko dyan sa tunnel. Kaya na namin ikauba na namatay bitaw sa blasting bitaw sa aso. Sa aso lang na siya, namatay.
These precariously built tunnels could collapse anytime. Mine operators dug up tunnels anywhere they wanted with little thought for the safety of their workers. Cave-ins are common, yet most workers don't wear hard hats to shield their heads from falling rocks. The search for gold is one big gamble, and those who take part in it wager their very lives. In 1989, hundreds were believed dead when several tunnels collapsed. Many among them were children. Only in the 1990s did the miners organize their operations and reinforce their tunnels. But even now, accidents still kill and maim with alarming regularity. Junbert bears on his body the scars of his years in Diwalwal. When he was 11, his foot got caught in the fan belt of the ore mill which he was operating. When he worked in the tunnels, he was trapped in an avalanche of rocks, twice.
Kaya kung mupuna akong sama diri sa kuan, sa bunga-bunga siya bato sa tunnel.
Abantero na ka.
Oh, abantero na kuana.
Pila edad ninyo?
Kuana. 14 anyos. Sunod siya kana, sunod siya diri sa naong. Muna yung pinakadako diri sa saman.
Kanang sa naong?
Mga muna sila kubana, kanang tulo.
Yang
Primero diri ni aging bato, sunod diri sa paa.
tanaw daw sa mga
Muna kasaman.
Every week, the only government doctor in Diwalwal treats as many as 9 miners who fall or are pinned down by rocks inside the tunnels.
Dito sa Diwalwal, meron ka rin nakikita ng mga bata na nagtatrabaho sa minahan sa mga start yan, sikin natin sa tunnels talaga. Sa pagkukuha pa lang ng bato, ng ores, meron nandiyan nagtatrabaho ng mga 15 o 14 years old. Sa pagtrabaho nilang gano'n sa area, lahat ng risk nakukuha, na-expose din sila eh. So, isang risk dyan, yung mahulugan ka ng bato, masusuffocate ka. Pag hindi masyado maganda yung ventilation ng area, tapos yung major dyan na mangyari, yung bar down, no? Yung matrap ka doon sa loob, baka maipit ka pa ng mga malalaking ores. So, ang mangyari dyan, may nakita na rin kami ng mga surgical cases involving mga 14 to 15 na hulugan ng bato. Kasi yun ang trabaho nila.
Even if they don't meet accidents, the heavy work takes its toll on the young workers' health. Each of these sacks weighs as much as 50 kilos, and these teenage workers have to bring them up and down a narrow path to an ore mill. Most of Diwalwal is made up of narrow alleys where pedestrians have to navigate through the filth and muck from the mine tunnels and the ore mills. After the ore is taken out of the tunnels, it is brought to mills like these. The ore is mixed with water and mercury and loaded into crude machines which churn and crush the rocks. The result is brownish muck, which does not look like it holds the promise of gold. The mixture is hosed with water, allowing a silvery blob of mercury to settle at the bottom of the pan. This teenage worker handles the mercury with his bare hands. The constant hosing washes away some of the mercury, which finds its way into the river nearby. The process is repeated many times. After several hosings, a small silver ball containing an amalgam of mercury and gold is produced. This amalgam is blowtorched in a nearby shop. Torching makes the mercury evaporate into the air around. When it is over, only a nugget of gold remains. Mercury is everywhere in Diwalwa. In the air, the water, the fumes that stick to people's clothes. A series of studies by the University of the Philippines Institute of Public Health found that air and water in Diwalwa have mercury in amounts far exceeding the standard. Even fish samples taken from rivers in nearby towns showed high mercury content. All over Diwalwa, children as young as 10 handle mercury with their bare hands. They scavenge for ore with spoons, crush the rock, and mix it with mercury to flush out the gold. In 1991, the University of the Philippines College of Public Health found that Diwalwa's children suffered from the delayed development of their motor and social skills because of mercury exposure. The long-term effects of mercury exposure are alarming. Memory loss, tremors, headaches, and intellectual deterioration. Victims of mercury poisoning suffer from fatigue, depression, and malaise. Mercury can also affect unborn children, causing cerebral palsy and mental retardation. Most of Diwalwa's children live in crowded shanties. Even at home, they find no protection from disease and misery. Many workers live in crowded bunk houses next to ball mills, tunnels, and stockyards of ore. On a rickety house on stilts, about 70 people, including women and children, live. Here they cook, eat, prepare their food, and play in the most filthy and cramped conditions possible.
Muna ibang sa may ka tao, doon ka grupo nagpuyo. Kaning, tulog ka tao nagpuyo, kaning diris pa ba, dire. Tulog yapon, kanin dire, upat. Kanin dire, tulog ka buk. Nay, dua ka batanon dire. Pagkatapos, kaning, kwarto lang yapon Magsiyayo na nagpuyo, Kanin po, kwarto lang yapon siya. Magsiyayo lang po nagpuyo dua. Isa ang bata ng gamay. Ngayon, kanina muna akong kananan din. Kanina, gaanan ka po siya, dua katao. Lumagan. Ngayon, naabuhan na mo. Basanan. Lumagan lang yapon. Hindi, gaanan lang yapon na dili, kanina.
Kapag kwarto sa ubos.
5 katao rin dyan, 5. Kanina dili, kanina. Ay, duha, Kanina po. Ay, duha katao ay nagpuyo. Dayon.
Dayon, sige lang.
Asa man kasilyas?
Para silong sa dito. Silong. Dili sila lang nagapoy pag-house dili. Ang trabaho na to. Makita dito dito. Dali mo ulit. Kita. Dili. Kwarto dili. Nada po puyo dito. Punong katao nagpuyo diha, kwarto ah.
Below the house is a noisy ore mill. Next to it is one toilet shared by 70 people, including miners' wives and children. Despite its squalor, this mountain can be beautiful still. But this scenic stretch is also a scavenging site. A mine tunnel operates above, occasionally unloading a wagon of ore. Children fight over stray pieces of ore that fall from the mine tunnel. With their bare but agile hands, they scramble over pieces of rock. Among the gray stones and boulders, they look for the gleaming white quartz with streaks of gold. Albert Melendez is 11 years old, a miner's son. He and his 4 friends, the youngest 9, the oldest 13, scavenge for ore on weekends. They gather the ore and crush them into smaller pieces with a metal rod. Then they load the crushed pieces into sacks. It's a group effort. The boys distribute the load among themselves. They negotiate the stream and walk to the main road, hoping to sell their ore to a gold dealer up the hill. They carry heavy loads, but shifting the weight among them makes it easier. The boys are tired. They have been at work the whole morning. It is nearly noon now. It is a long walk and the sun is hot. Studies estimate that at least 20% of working children, anywhere from 400,000 to 1.6 million young people, are in hazardous occupations like mining. Boys escape the hazards of the mine tunnels, but they get headaches from the work and the heat. Finally, they reach the dealer's shop. He tells them most of what they got was crushed boulders, not gold ore. He offers them 50 pesos for the lot. The boys do not look happy with the offer. But their heads are throbbing from the heat and the weight, and rather than walk farther up the hill to look for another buyer, they take what little is offered them in silence. For generations, rural poverty and landlessness have driven children to work in mines, quarries, and plantations. And like in Diwalwal, there are child workers in the vast haciendas of Negros Island. They are as much a part of the landscape as the sugarcane that they harvest or the land that they till. Like other peasant children, Ryan the Pitan spends long days cutting and harvesting cane. His father, Ildefonso, is a tenant farmer who earns barely enough to keep his family alive.
Tagdo si 75 ang tulinada. Kung sa isa ka bagon makakuha ka man mga may 8 tulinadas man, hindi daw may ara ka man sa isa ka adlaw daw dako-dako man ang imo kay kung timbangan pa ninyo nga duwa Di, wala ka na gid sa magpartida kami abi sa 800 ang kinsinal. Ti kung duwa ka mo, tag 400 lang sa inyo. Ti sa isa ni mo kinsinal ay ka na gid sa bugas ninyo kulang na gid Kundi pigado kayo.
Although Ryan spends as many hours working as adults do, his work is not recognized. In the haciendas, it is usually the heads of families who get paid, depending on the amount of cane he and his family plant or harvest within a given time.
Kung damo kabataan mo, yaan mo na yagani ang kung may kabataan ka nga nagabulig, papin hindi lang niya dugay ang matapos yung imong orubrahon. Kung waay kaya sang bulig, subong abi nang solo-solo ka lang, nang dugay mo man maurot. Siyempre, kung subong abi takyaw, siyempre kabulig na sila Kay parang madali ba lang obra. Kaya isa-isa na sa abi ka kampo, subong na ako kung ikaw lang kung magpulo ka mo kabilog, siyempre mabulig ng kabataan para nga ang hila mo na sa dali lang matapos.
At 13, Ryan is old enough to wield a bolo and take on the adult job of slicing the jagged edges of the canes so that haulers can pack in more of the crop onto the wagons. If his family had a choice, he would be in school and earning himself a high school diploma. But Ryan spends more time on top of a cane wagon than in a classroom. At age 13, he is still only in the 2nd grade. 10-year-old Angelique Cabrera is also a child of tenant farmers. Many times, she is forced to spend her school days at work with her family in the sugarcane fields.
Okay, write number 2 on the board. Just calling. Now get a piece of chalk. Write number 2 on the board. Write number 2. Good May.
Angeli's teacher says that 1/3 of her class of 2nd grade pupils is usually absent during the planting or harvesting season.
Very good. Okay.
Many are forced to drop out of school altogether. Others, like Angeli, persist.
November. Pera ka na. Sundan. Okay.
But her teacher is concerned that her learning has been impaired because of her work.
November. Sulat. N. Letter N. Hindi M. Letter N lang lang. N. O. Kaliwa. O. P. Ops. P. Kasi muna. Abi, maulin mo lang sa imong papel.
Kung damo bra ka bulig ko. Kaya ang may pakyaw sa nga kampo nga wifi na hilam na nasilduan na. Ginahilam na namon tayon. Pabsino niya man kasi kung na hindi lang umaabsin kay may test kami. Hinanay niya absin nilang anay bala. Hindi ka man maano sa boss ni eskwela ka man.
After school, other chores await Angeli at home. In homes like these, there is neither space nor time for children to play.
Kung masana nang abra, masalangan nila, mapulit na sila ya. Wala sa singa nagaamo na, masinabi matapos mag-eskwela, malaga, wala. Kung anong amon obrahon, bulig at tanan niya. Kung sa talamnan kami, kag makasarang sila, bulig at tanan. Kaya ang rason ko ya, kung makasarang malamag ubas tamnan, ang ihampang nila kung di ibulik nga ya.
In rural households, each child is considered an additional pair of hands and feet, a workhorse harnessed to add to the family income. 2/3 of all working children are in the rural areas. Angeli Cabrera is typical of most child workers in the Philippines. 2 years ago, when she turned 8, Angeli became old enough to join her parents and older siblings in the cane field. She became part of a team of workers who prepared cane cuttings for planting. It turned out to be a risky job for Angeli.
Kaya tiya, ang imo yung paghabyog niya. Kuan gidya mo, bira gidya ang paghabyog niya nga. Sa mo ka paghabyog mo na yaho, ang patdan mo utod. Ang ining punta ho, nasangit sa balagon. Di pagamuyan ni ho, di nagsangit ho. Di nagsinggit lang sa kuno sa magulang niya nga, ning napilas ako.
Angeli remembers almost every detail of that day she cut cane and lost her finger.
Pag-abot na ito naman sa kampo, namatdan ako bala. Pagpamatdan kang sanggot ko, gintubso ko sa bungsod. Paglabo ko mo sinao, napilas ko dayon. Diyan ano, kasing ko na yung napilas ko. Na ni Nining. Tapos si Angeli napilas, ni Tuto naman kay pari niya. Tapos si Angeli napilas, tapos si Papa, bay ida, kayo daw gagana sa'yo magpamatdan niya, daw tanga sa.
Impasok ko pa sa 85 ti, nga nag-obra-obra ka. Yan ti kasi nining malang isa ka pamatdan.
Tapos nagsakay kami sa traktora. Sang dito sa may balay, yung tawag ni Papa si Nanay, nang mura dali, na kay siyang bata mo na, ano na to, napilas, ato lang to, ginbantayan to ni Nilo sa balay, kay daw matumba na dito sa naman, ni Papa niya. Si Nanay galing niya, ano si Angie, nadagdag sa lube, nakumpol ang kamot. Hindi Papa, hindi si Angeli napila sa pamatdan.
Di kayo wala mong kung pinsya nga mapila sa mo.
Wala man. So, 3 ka adlaw na nag-absent ko bala, hinapilas ko. Hinya, maayo lang kay nang walang nautod. Nya kung too, hindi ka nakasulat ni ma'am. Tapos siling ko na may napilas pagigani isa. Na ni ma'am niya mayo ay nautod. Nautod. Nang ano ka na lang, nang 8 ka 1/4 ni ma'am. Hiko 1/4 na gani. Siling ko na. Ang magulang niya, 1/4 kumpul nila. Niya, siling ko na. Kumayo na kumpul ko sampang sobra man niya.
Angeli and her parents realized too late that much of the work in the cane fields is not only back-breaking, but also dangerous for children. In a slum community in Mandaue City, adults earn a living making brooms. But it is actually the children who are involved in the dirtiest and most exhausting aspects of the process. The children's work requires them to wade waist-deep into the smelly, murky, and stagnant waters of what used to be a fish pond. The black, foul-smelling water is filled with garbage, human waste, and the grime from the leaves. Wading in it is like bathing in muck, dirty, stinking muck, which makes the children's skin break out into rashes and scabies.
Kani bitaw iyang tanawa ra gud murag mga kuan, mga nuka. Kani siya gikan gini siya sa libaong, gikan ni sa tubig diha sa dagat. Mabasa gani ni siya niya mauga murag mubati kag kakatul kung kauto ni mo ni siya resulta nga murag kuan niya na mga sunburn tungod sa kainit ka maghubo kinahanglan gi ka maghubo kay init man kay imong lawas kung di ka maghubo. Ni mapilit sa imong silina na mga samad sa piil, mga samad diha kay na may kanang ilabay mga basura nya maigo sa tiil mo nang masama nya dugay kay maayo tungod sa tingay sa parap nya hugaw kani sandia na mga nuka dagko kay nuka dugay lagi kay maayo labig sige balik-balik diha pero ipahuway na siya mga usa ka semana maayo-ayo na siya ibalik masama na sad tungod sa kanang nay mga tuod nay mga kahoy-kahoy sa katunggan nga nabilin ba nya matuslok sa kanang mga kahoy sa buli nga biya na silbi mo nang makasamad nila.
Rose Alimpos makes brooms from the palm leaves that the children pull out of the water. Being a community organizer, she knows the children's problems well. The children earn only a few centavos for every bundle they can get out of the water. After fishing the palm leaves out, the children pound them with wooden clubs. Then the boys shake off whatever water or moisture is left from the released strands and bundle them up. The long hours of waiting and of working, their bare backs exposed to the sun, wind, and rain, leave the children prone to fever, cough, and even pneumonia. The water also causes redness and irritations when it gets into the children's eyes. The parents know that it is against the law to make the children work. In fact, a government team once lectured them about the hazards of child labor. The parents listen, but they say there is nothing they can do to change the situation.
Doon ay nianhi din sa una nga taga Department of Labor, pero ang ilang kong gikuan nga dili ko na maayo ang mga bata nga makatrabaho kay bata pa ba. Unsa man masad ko no kung ang mga bata ila lang hipuson sa ila way katabang mo. Unsa may pakaon nila nga di naman nila ma-afford gid papakaon ang tanan labi pagdaghan. Muna nga ang mga bata sa murag maluoy sa mga girikanan bisa unta tog dili angayan gid ang buhaton kay tungos ka bugaton, tungos ka kapoy sa init ug uwan nga ilang hiaguman. Sige lang gyapon sila kay makatabang man gyud.
Parents and society impose on children the obligation to help improve the family's finances. But often, the costs are high. And while some parents or government agencies cannot stop child labor, elsewhere, something is being done about the problem. Randy Mohametano is the Municipal Planning and Development Officer of Inigaran Town. He and his assistant conduct periodic spot checks on the town's pyrotechnics factories clustered in the fringes of the barangay. Their mission is to make sure that there are no more children working in the firecracker factories. The team is tasked to enforce a town ordinance that prohibits child labor.
Pila? Pila na edad mo? 16. Piyo ka nga 16? Oo. Saan ka na tao?
Sa 1929.
Children younger than 15 are not supposed to work, especially in hazardous jobs like making firecrackers.
Hindi ka magbinutig, hindi ka magbinutig.
Oo, hindi ako binutig.
Huwag ka binutig?
Ay.
16 ka na tao?
Oo.
Oo, 13 ka pa lang eh.
Yung Department of Labor came over and confronted us, local officials, to take a look at the situation of the children in the pyrotechnics industry. Kasi before, we used to we really tolerate that because we were concerned with the welfare of the families, to the parents earning extra income because of the employment of the children. But as the years passed, from time to time, the Department of Labor has, they came over to appraise us the dangers. And nakita namin, we realized na really there is a danger in the employment of children in that kind of industry.
Making firecrackers is a job dangerous even for adults. Fires and explosions take place regularly in the little huts which serve as factories. There, workers handle with their bare hands toxic chemicals like nitrate and gunpowder. Sometimes they even inhale the deadly particles. Yet firecracker making is a source of income for entire communities. The industry itself is half a century old. Making firecrackers has virtually become a tradition for the townspeople. Even children are taught to make gunpowder-coated wicks even before they are taught how to read and write. That's why enforcing the law in a place like Inigaran is difficult.
Ano alam mo nito? Kiniri Garciro, tagaling nga. Pantalan, mga pila na edad, mas ko? 18.
Officials say the number of children working has gone down since the town ordinance took effect. But there are still those who defy the law, especially when the inspection team turns its back. Children work during the week, but hide when the government team arrives for an inspection. Others lie about their ages, while the rest work on weekends when there are no classes and government people are not watching.
When we started implementing this ordinance, that was a few years ago, some parents came to me, to my office, and, you know, they confronted me and sabi, Mayor, can you, if you stop our children, can you provide the bigas? Can you give us rice in lieu of the income that our children are making in the pyrotechnics industry? And I remember very well there was one parent to have maybe, you know, to have a political will to implement such an ordinance, because it runs counter with the, kung politiko ka, if you're a politician, if you think like a politician, naturally, you will not do anything to antagonize the families of the children involved in that industry. But siguro in the final analysis, in the long run, yung ginawa mo will be appreciated by the parents themselves.
While some local government units do their work, the most innovative efforts to help working children have been undertaken by non-government organizations. In poor rural communities like the 400-hectare Hacienda Maria Luisita, children as young as 8 work in sugarcane plantations. They weed and clear the cane fields with long, sharp knives. The children know that insects make their homes in the cane leaves, and that sometimes snakes hide out here too. Under the searing heat of the sun, these children work long hours. They sweat it out for 50 pesos a day, only a little over a third of the minimum wage for agricultural laborers.
Kanang pag naninyo sa katuban, kauban ninyo yung nanay?
Oo.
Tatay, sa tatay, tanang pamilya?
Alma Makitan, an NGO worker of the Kamalayan Development Foundation, comes here regularly to talk to the children, find out about their condition, and to tell them what the law provides for them.
Namoy mga garas-garas?
Nay, dama ako sa mado. Mga ako garas. Ay, mga garas man eh.
Niya itong nagkuhan pa mo, nagbutang og abuno sa kanang tubo, daghang og mga samad.
Dagas kayo. Dos kayo.
No. Wala ihatag nga kanang balay. Plantis ba karon?
Inamokra, kinutsara. Uwat man si Rodney.
Ha?
Uwat si Rodney.
Ano man?
Hindi mo hatag og ano dos ka wantes.
Inyo lang kamuton ang abuno.
Kusay kutsara.
Alma listens as the children describe their work. They talk about their difficulties and show her their wounds.
Kinintas kayo, kinintas, kini. Kayo?
Noon sa man siya, anong daghaman? Sa tubo?
With Kamalayan's help, the children have formed an organization of young workers in sugarcane haciendas. The sugarcane plantations of Leyte are scenes of grinding and inescapable poverty. Half the year there is work in the fields, planting, weeding, fertilizing, harvesting. The work is hard, but it brings food to the table. The other half of the year, when the cane is in the mills and the fields are fallow, there is no work, only hunger and despair. It was in the season of despair when 16-year-old Michael Suringa left the cane fields of Huaton in the hilly fringes of Ormoc. It was October of 1992. his mother Felisa remembers when Michael set off. There was no work in the plantation. The family had run out of rice and was subsisting on coconuts. Michael, who had been working in the hacienda ever since he was a child, decided to take the chance and join Soping, a labor recruiter who promised to get him a job in Manila.
Niingon si Suping ko pagkuhan din pagunad nila ni dito yan ako dito sa Purmok na ba? Dahil nalis sakay sa barko. Niingon nga, kaning imo bata, ang ako ipatarbaho na ni, gaan. Gaan. Kung sabi mo ipatarbaho na nang lawlaw ko pala kung sa baboy. Ako, kaayo maghagmaingon. Tuon ko, tsaka na ko dito sa barko, kami lang yung iya magwang. Ko, ay lang pagkuyog tinoy, kay paitbig ka ayo sa kanya. Ingon na nang, uban ka na ng ahensya, mawa ka yun. Yung sa pagtubag ang ako, anak pero naghilak. Dili magi ko mulayas, ug ako makasud. Dili ko mulayas na, kay mulayas ko dito nga ako makasud ito. Nya, karon, abot-abot mi. Nga, tuon na lang siya katuig. Bisa na lang untag may suwa. Wag yun.
Felisa was close to her son and misses him badly. The last time she saw Michael was when he boarded the ship bound for Manila.
16 laging edad na ni. Kadakog lawas. Ambot, magkita, papakaintaw nila ako ni bata. Okay, mamatay, magkita, gimi sila yung kalibutan na ni. Makakita ta sa iya dagway, di na makikistorya. May kuang ka, paulig yung taon nga ni Dong. Kay, mo inahanapit na mabugto.
There are many mothers like Felisa in Leyte. Here, labor recruiters comb the villages, enticing teenage boys and girls with promises of good jobs in Manila. Like Michael, some of these children are never heard from again. In 1995, the Kamalayan Development Center put up an office in Ormoc and organized mothers like Felisa, whose children disappeared after they were taken from their villages by labor recruiters. Kamalayan tries to help them locate their children.
Siyempre kay sa Dolores, yung dagdagang kay niya mga recruiter ng musulit sa Dolores.
Some of these children are traced by Kamalayan to factories in Manila where they are forced to work. Josie Cabreros, a volunteer worker for Kamalayan, was one of those lured to Manila by recruiters.
Kinausap ako ng recruiter. Sinabi ng recruiter, ilang taon ka na? Sabi ko, 13 po. Ang sabi niya, mag-alias ka na lang muna ng edad, gawin mo ng 16. Ginawa ko rin ng 16. Ngayon, kinuha niya ako sa bahay namin. At hindi ako nakapagpaalam ng mga magulang ko, basta umalis lang ako ng bahay namin. Yung pangalan ng nag-recruit sa akin yun, si Lucela Romero. Kanang Galibungaw siya. Nung pumunta siya sa bahay namin, sinabi niya na, Nining, gusto mo bang magtrabaho sa Maynila dahil maganda yung Maynila at saka makabili ka ng maraming damit. At isa pa, pagdating mo may mga alas ka na. At isa pa, yung sahod mo doon, malalaki niya. Sis lady daw, sinabi niya. Siyempre, natuwa naman kami dahil wala yan dito ng mga sahod libo-libo. Sumama kami doon. Dinala niya kami sa ahensya. Pagdating doon, kinulong naman kami. Hindi namin alam.
Josie was taken to the Youngstown Sardines factory, where with other miners, she was forced to work up to 22 hours every day, packing fish in cans. After work, they were locked up in a room. Josie was there 5 months and never got paid. Every day, scores of young people like Josie disappear into sweatshops, factories, and even prostitution dens in Manila and other cities. This clandestine trade in children is carried out by recruiters who use a combination of deception, false promises, and cash incentives to take the children away from their homes. In July 1993, Josie and 26 other workers of the sardines factory were rescued by the police. The raid was organized by Kamalayan staff members who had entered the factory disguised as workers and found the children. Today, Josie is one of Kamalayan's most active volunteers. Kamalayan's small office in Ormoc is the site of an innovative surveillance and monitoring effort aimed at crippling the network of recruiters and child traffickers. Kamalayan workers regularly stake out the bus station in Ormoc, watching for recruiters bringing children to Manila. The children are transported by bus and brought to employment agencies in Manila. Kamalayan also monitors ships bound for Manila from the Ormoc pier. Josie boards the ship before it departs, disguised as a vendor of snacks and soft drinks. She and the other Kamalayan workers roam the deck and observe what is going on. They also chat with passengers to find out who they are and who is taking them to Manila. This afternoon surveillance yields results. They find two young girls, both sugarcane plantation workers who are bound for Manila. They point to the recruiter, a middle-aged woman named Lucrecia Carmen, who is known in Ormoc as a recruiter of minors. Kamalayan staffer Alma Makitan talks to the recruiter, pretending that she wants to go to Manila as well. The recruiter offers to take her and promises her a job in a prostitution den. 2 days later, the ship steams into Manila's South Harbor. Kamalayan is ready for them. Its office in Manila has notified the police, the National Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Social Welfare. The recruiter tries to hide, but the police are waiting. They nab her and take her away. Reporters are there too, having been informed by Kamalayan that a child recruiter would soon fall into the hands of the law. A combination of undercover surveillance, factory raids, and the organizing of children has made Kamalayan one of the most successful organizations involved with working children. Its efforts are also aimed at hitting the problem of child trafficking at the source. Here, in poor villages where children fall prey to the sweet promises of recruiters. On weekends, Kamalayan makes the rounds of barrios, warning parents and children about recruiters. Josie takes the lead by narrating her own story. From victim, Josie has become an advocate of children's rights.
Nung nandun pa ako sa Maynila, sinabi ko sa taga-Kamalayan na gusto kong tumulong sa kanila dahil yung mga kabataan gusto ko rin tulungan dahil ayaw ko kasi yung karanasan ko, maranasan din ng mga kababayan ko.
Certainly, Kamalayan has made a difference in the lives of children like Josie. But children like her have also made a difference in the way Kamalayan conducts its work. In its efforts against child labor, organizations like Kamalayan have learned to listen first to what the children have to say.
Kailangan na tumulong yung kabataan sa magulang, pero hindi naman sa ganyan pa dahil bata pa. Kailangan pa ng mga magulang suportahan yung mga anak nila para ipagpaparalin. Ang isang bata ngayon, hindi na nakikita na makapaglaro, puro na lang gawain. Dapat nga sa isang bata makapaglaro. At may isa pa yung may pamilya na mag-aalaga sa kanila at mabigyan sila ng sapat na edukasyon. Bakit ngayon ang ibang mga kabataan hindi nabigyan ng sapat na edukasyon? Dahil sa kahirapan na talaga ng buhay ngayon. Ang gusto ko rin makapag-aral yung mga kabataan at hindi na lang nakasinto sa gawain. Kung palagi ka nakasinto sa gawain, ano ang makapala mo paglaki mo?